Hi, this is Doc Palmer. This is a demonstration of how to insert a WowSlider into a Mobirise page. So what I have done here is I have my notes. I always make notes on all my projects. In this video, this is what we're going to cover. We're going to review the forum question, then we're going to review these notes. We're going to show a working page in progress on the net. It's already been published. Then we're going to demonstrate how to create the Mobi page using version 4.6.2 using the portfolio theme with no user blocks, just a one-page site. We're going to publish that site and export it. Then we're going to open Apycom WowSlider version 8.7. Open a project. We're going to review and show you how we set it up. We are actually going to demonstrate how to insert a WowSlider. Then we're going to share the FTP file structure of the site, then the site with the slider inserted, and that'll be it. So when we go here, first of all, we're going to go to we'll fly in this page. So this is the Mobirise forums from the user Mobirise logged in. Click on help, then click on forums, and you'll go here. And so this is this user. I don't know his name. We'll just say eGraphics said it has these questions. I have a WowSlider and he basically can't get it to work. Okay, so we go down, we can see, thanks so much, where do I put the asset folder? That's completely incorrect. When I check this site, site basically showed that it wasn't there, so anyway, doesn't matter. Here's Peter Mac. He's been trying to get a WowSlider to be inserted for a long time. It is tricky, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay? So what we're going to do is we'll move that out of the way, and we're going to bring in the page that shows it working. Let's see. So here's the site. So this is the working site. And if I just reload this site, you can hear it. So here we have the Mobirise information. Come down just one page. We have the footer. We have a page here that's called Content B3. And then we have a block here that's Content 1-1. Then we have the portfolio menu. How do we do this? So if we can stop this, just move this out of the way. So what we'll do is we'll minimize this for now. And this, I'm in Mobirise 4.6.2. My user, this is who I'm using here. This is my account. When I go to sites, you can see that all the sites have been removed. I've exported them all and cleaned off this user interface. And here's the site here. And I've named it WowSlider using version 4.6.2 with the theme portfolio and the user. That should be you. User DRP. It's important because when you go to open this site from export, you need to be logged in with this user or logged in with some user that has everything turned on. In other words, this is using portfolio. So you have to have portfolio in that user. Anybody who has portfolio enabled by paying for it and has WowSlider 4.6.2 or newer should be able to open this from export. We'll click OK. And we'll look at the pages. There's only one page. If we look at the page, there's nothing here, just an index. You can put other things if you want. So the way the page was made, we have a menu here. Then we have content 1.1 here when we go to look at the different things. Portfolio doesn't have a lot of options. You can't create, like, if you wanted to make like an article, it doesn't have an article. So I just said I'm going to use this. And then I used this, which was content B-3. I put this one here. So if we come here, we can see come here, we can see how it's set up. We come here, we can click here, we can see how it's set up. Click here, we come here, we can see how it's set up. And you can see that I've set this so it does certain things. If I go to preview, it's going to give me a preview page, which is easier, I guess, to look at than going ahead and looking at it on the internet. But the way this is working now, what we're going to do is after this comes up, we're going to use it as kind of a, what do you call it, quality control. So when I come here, when I look here, down here, put the mouse here, you can see where it's going to go. So docx SEO is the site. It's in a folder called Wowslider Embedded, and then this is going back to the top of the page, and then this is going to this page, home page. This is going to the forum post. That is the forum post over here. And then this is the previous Wowslider that I made, demonstrating it back in 16. This is my home page. Then we come down here. So we can actually use this preview to see, this is my email address if you look over here. Then here's another one to contact me, and it says R2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this say, I'm going to close this, and I'm going to make this say R5. Okay, so if I publish it now, and I browse, I make sure it takes all of it, and I browse, and I go to K. We need to go to K, and then we need to go to movie sites, and Wowslider in a subfolder, and we're going to create a folder called R5. R5 raw. And we're going to create another folder called R5 exported. This is important. And what you can see as I've worked on this, I have a archive here from a previous, actually from this Wowslider here. And if you look here, you can see the data and the images. Well, you can't see them here, but if we look here, we can see the image asset folder. Well, it won't show us that either because it's asking us where we want to save this. But you can see that we have an archive folder. We've already published R1, R2, R3, and R4. It's already done. This is all done and it's all working. So we're not like doing this the first time. What we're going to do is we're going to publish it to here. So we're going to click on select, and then we're going to publish it. You have to publish the site first, and then you're going to insert the Wowslider into the site. Now the way we do it is when we publish it into the site, then the finished site's going to look like this. So that's like this is the same thing as we were doing before. Come on. Let's close that. And let's just look at the page working. So this is the page, and so this is the page, and if I reload it, it's playing. So what I want to do is I want to insert the slider right here. That's where I decided. So let's stop this. Stop. And minimize it. Okay. So assume now that we have published this. We published this site. We haven't put it on the internet yet. We have an FTP that we just published it. And we know that it's called index because that's what we named it. Remember when we went here, look at page, home, go here. When we look at this, come on, page, we look here. It's called index.html. So we're going to insert the Wowslider into this page. Okay, that's pretty obvious. All right, now, so we'll minimize this for now. We don't need this. What we need is Wowslider. So here I have Wowslider. Wowslider 8.7, unlimited website license. There's my license number. And I'm making a new slider. I've already done it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how it works. So let's open the project. And what I've done is, if you remember from earlier in the video, under my Mobirise sites, I have this folder. Everything's in this folder. And I have my Wowslider output. And the configuration file for this is here. And if you do not keep yourself organized, you will go insane of like, where is the configuration file? I have to create it from scratch. You don't have to because you can save that, okay? So we're going to open this. Okay? So now what's happening is we have all these pictures here. I think there are 15 pictures. I already know they've been optimized. I already know they're all 360 pixels by 360 pixels, and that's what this is going to be, because basically what we did was we said let's replicate an earlier version of this thing so that we can make it easier on people. So the first thing you would do in WowSlider is you would add your images, and I usually add them from a folder. When I added them from a folder here, I just said, where's the folder? I went to my computer. Where I put the assets was here, Mobirise sites, and WowSlider in a subfolder. And then I don't know if you're watching this here, but you can see my image asset folder. All I did was import that, all of those. If I click on there, there's nothing in there because I'm saying click on a folder. So we'll cancel that. So I imported those. Then I clicked here. And this is your slider properties. So you're going to have your general properties, your design, and then your publish. Okay? And this is, I just gave it title WowSlider version 8.7. You can give it whatever you want. Under general, I have all these features. I can toggle them on or off however I want. This is how I set mine up. You can copy it or not. Doesn't matter. Do your own. Then I go on to the next one, and I determine what template I'm going to use. These are all different templates. I use this template. Doesn't really matter. You can use any. There's a ton. Digit. You know, you can explore it. Okay, and if you remember, I think I used convex. Then I came over here and I said, for the slider size, because my images were 360 by 360, I already knew that. I said, well, let's go ahead and just make them custom size. I could have made them any size if I want. I'll make them custom size. I'm going to preserve the aspect ratio. In case they're not correct, I'm going to stretch them. In case they're too big, I'm going to shrink them. And then I'm going to have image fill color will be black. And then the quality is 100. So it's a little bit, it could be 100 bigger. I could make this lower if I wanted to. The template color is going to be blue, that code. And then for the font, I'm using this font. And for the transition effect, when you look in WowSlider, there is a WowSlider in Mobirise, and it is a WowSlider that Apycom created, and Apycom is the parent of Mobirise. I actually don't know the company name. I'm guessing it's Apycom. I don't know legally how they have it set up, but Apycom, A-P-Y-C-O-M, created this, created WowSlider, created a whole bunch of tools. WowSlider is kind of a consumer grade version of WowSlider is in Mobirise. And there are other tools like Formoid. In any case, this tool is the commercial version of Apycom WowSlider. Okay, it's actually up to 8.8 now. And they keep coming out with new things. They came out with mobile, then Retina Ready and everything else. And so every time they do a major revision, I pay for the upgrade. Okay, and I renew. Now, that's the way Apycom works. So you renew the license and you pay a fee. But I haven't done it for quite a while because 8.7 hasn't really changed too much and it works really well. It doesn't have any bugs. So I'll probably buy it again in a year or two. I'll buy the whole Apycom suite because it's worth getting all the upgrades, but not every single year if it's already been perfected. We can pick whatever we want. You can see how the shift is working here. See how it's jumping out? That's called shift. If we wanted to do a cube over, we would pick cube over here. We'd apply it, and it would change it. But we're not going to do that. Okay, we're going to leave it alone. We can put, because it's a licensed version, and you don't have to have the licensed version to use this. You could use the unlicensed version, and it just puts a watermark on everything, but it still works. Okay, now when we're ready to go, what we're going to do is we're going to click on Publish. Now, one of the things you have to understand is, if you do this and it doesn't work, write down what doesn't work, write down what worked in a Word document, and take notes so that you don't do the same thing. When I was learning how to use this tool, I would screen grab this. Take a screen capture of this, take a screen capture of this, take a screen capture of this, take screen capture. So we have our general, we have our design, then we're going to go to publish. Now, if you publish it to a folder, that's awesome, because then, you know, you have it creates an index file, but we don't want that. We want to insert it into a page. So what you're going to do is you're going to allow this program to open a page. You don't have to do anything on your computer. You just click there, and then you tell it where it is. Now, in the case of us, I already inserted it here in the same folder, the same WowSlider, in R2 raw. Remember, the raw is the unclean version, and index. So what I would do is, if I wanted to do it now, what I would do is I would go back to WowSlider. I'd go to R5 raw. I'd open it, and I'd say, this is the page I want it to go in. So then I open this page. So now you look here, and you can see it says an external drive in this folder, subfolder, R5 raw, index. Okay, now what I do now is I click apply. Okay, so now I'm back to this page, and so, you know, when we went here and we applied it, now we're back to this page. Now we're going to click on insert. So now what we're going to do is we're going to pick the page that we want it to go on, and we're going to open it. And it comes here. So this says insert to page wizard. We're going to maximize this page, and we're going to, here's a block. Remember, that's the menu. Here's a block. Remember that? That was actually contents 1-1. Here's a block. This is actually contents B-1. Here's a block. This is actually footer 1-4. So if I click on this block, and then click before, and there's the WowSlider. It's right there. You see that? So now what I do is I come up here and I click save. And it's building the page. And now it's going to give us a preview. I'm going to pause this. Now this is a preview of, just like a Mobirise build does a preview after it publishes. And you can see it working. If you don't like it, don't FTP it to your site. Now, some people think, well, we should FTP it, and then we should insert it, and then we should re-FTP it. You should not do that, because you'll get all confused. So let's pause this, and let's just get rid of it, because it's only it's just a preview. And we're going to minimize this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to, we're going to bring up this. This is my FTP client, and I'm going to basically, if I'm here, I'm going to disconnect, and then I'm going to connect. I'll connect to my here. I have a ton of sites, so we'll connect here, and then we're going to connect to where we said we were going to put this. Now, if we look in our working notes, this is our working notes. This is the stuff from the forum. These are all the questions and statements from the forum. And people are really frustrated. Person said 8.8 is out. Wow. I should go check it out, I said. Okay. So, response 10. This is for me. This will be in my next video. But if we come down, we can see that my micro application is WowSlider. Make an archive of existing example, all files. Copy the images to a new project. The images went to an asset folder. Open WowSlider v8.7. Create a new project. Create a Mobirise portfolio M4 site. Link back to the form question. Here's the site name. Here's all my notes. Here's all my links. Copy and pasting. Here's my alt tag. Here's my title tag. Here's my test results. Now, if we look in R2 raw, if we look in R5 raw, no, it won't let us do it like that. trying to show you, let me pause this, see the difference between inserted and non-inserted. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here, we're going to go to sites, we're going to just verify that this resize images isn't turned on. And we're going to go to publish, and we're going to go to browse, and we're going to go to the site. We need to keep our ducks in a row here. We're going to go here, here, and then we're going to go to WowSlider, and we're going to create a new folder because we need to know we're up to R6 raw size. Okay, and we're going to just basically say R6 raw size. I need to know because everything else is as everything's been inserted and we cannot see. Click that and then publish it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go look at it. So if we go here, where were we? We were here. So if we go up, well, let us do it here. Let's pause for, I'm back. In order to understand how this works, you need to take note. So what we're going to do is we're going to look in R6. This was what we just published to. We look in here, and you can see in R6, before we inserted the WowSlider with 15 pictures, all we had an asset folder with all these things, including images. This is what Mobirise creates, right? Yeah, that's what it creates. So we leave that alone. We don't touch that, okay? When we inserted it here with this, when we inserted it, what happened was it inserted it to this page, and then it created more files. And many people overthink this, thinking, well, I have to move this and that. No, you don't have to do anything. So the one that was put on the internet that was inserted into was this one. This is the one that's on the internet. So when I look on the internet, this is what's on the internet. I have the assets, which is the Mobirise assets folder that has the images and all the JavaScript library. I have a folder here that's called data 0. And the reason why it's called data 0 and engine 0 is because the number inside of the Mobirise, when we named it, we gave it a number 0. Let's see, where is it? We can find that. Let me see. Okay, so I pause this for a second to go back and refresh. And I'm mistaken. I'm actually mistaken here. When we look in the FTP client, and it says data 0 here and engine 0. Okay, when it inserts it into the page, it defaults it to data 0 and engine 0 because we're inserting it into the page, and we cannot change that. We can't change that. I've played with that for hours. I can't figure out how to trick that to be a different number. So what we do to go back and look is if we're going to insert it into a page, we click here. If we were going to insert it into a folder, we would click here, and then here we can change this as much as we want. So if we're going to do it this way, we can. But with Mobirise, to insert it into a page, we don't have that option. Ergo, therefore, when we create a Mobirise WowSlider, professional commercial grade using 8.7, we put it into a unique page. So doesn't go crazy. Okay, otherwise it will break. That's my understanding of it. So let's close this, and then let's minimize this, and let's go back to what we're looking at. So we have, when we created this twice, we actually ran this twice. The program called WowSlider actually created this backup file. I ran it again, and it created this file. And then I uploaded this, and not this. Because in my world, I never share this. Because in my world, this is a way that you know what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, and I don't share that. Now, I could share that if I were to put it here. Let's go ahead. I'll share it, put it here. And then in order for you to use this, you would have to know the number. You would have to know this number and remember this number in order to see it, which you can do. And for example, Steve Rich's MobiClean Pro does that for you. It puts a randomized 12-digit number after project.mobirise. But the notion is that if you just leave the project Mobirise file out here and you don't have indexes off, people can actually go into your assets, they can actually go into your images, and they can help themselves to everything. They can take everything. So, indexes off is a good idea, or some code in your .ht access that does that. So, okay, so let's go back here. If we close this, minimize this, and then the last thing we want to show is if I open a notepad here, not notepad, if I open up a file explorer. Okay, so I have a file explorer and I have it open, and I'm going to go down to the folder K, and then I'm going to go over to Mobirise, and then I'm going to go over to a Wowslider, and then I'm going to go to R6 row. Remember that? I'm going to right click on that, and I'm going to look at properties, and I'm going to try to type over here in my Word document. It says here R2 before embed, 30 files, 26 folders, and 1.14 megabytes, and it's right there. That's all correct. So that, okay, click on OK. Now if we go back to where we installed it and we put it up on the internet, it was in this file. We're gonna look at the properties of this file, and you see it. If you look here, over here, it says this one says 30 folders, 74 files, and it says that it was 8.48. Now over here, it doesn't say that. Doesn't matter. This is the one that matters here. So if we look here, we went from 1.14 to 8. The Wowslider added almost 7.5 megabytes. So it's not so much that it's bloat, but it's doing a lot of stuff. Because when you look inside this, and you look inside data, there's images. All these images. Each image, how big is it? That's 36K. So you have all these images, and then when you go up, you have an engine. You have tons of data. Look at all the JavaScript and everything. If you go back in image data, you have tooltips. These are the thumbnails. They're just smaller versions of the same thing that it builds out for you. And there's a tricky little thing that you can do if you create a Wowslider with a whole bunch of really big images, like 2,000 by 1,000. You can build yourself a Wowslider, and you can use Wowslider here, where you can tell it, how big are we going to make this? Where you can say, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to use all these images, and we're going to customize them to be this big by this big, and it will actually resize those images to be exactly this size. So some people use it to resize images. Mac, I don't know if you do that. If you do, leave me a comment. Clever, a little workaround there. So we look at the final thing here. We're looking at this is when we redid it again. What did it say? It was 74, and it was in 30 folders, but it was 8.4. That is a lot of space. That's a lot of space. So, just a single page was this big. Amazing, amazing. So let's go back out to let's go look up here. Did we do everything we said we're going to do? Control Home. Review the forum, review the notes, show work page on net, we did. Demonstrate how to create a Mobirise page, we did. Publish and export site, no, we didn't do that. So we need to come here. Let's see, will let us do that. Let's close that, and then let's come here, and let's go to sites, and let's go here, and let's export this site. And let's go to K, and then let's go down to Mobirise. Let's go to Wowslider, and then let's go to R2, because R2 is where we worked. Oops. R2 new folder, R to exported. Okay, so we'll select this, and then we'll select this, and then we'll wait for it. We won't click anything, we'll confuse it, we'll mess it up. Just let it work. It's thinking. Now it's, oh, your site was successfully exported. Well, that's really good. We published it without error and we exported it without error, so we know it's in resetting itself, and then it will come up. And here it is. And now when I go to sites, all I have is my base site, which is, this is my base site. Okay, and then that's how it works. So we go to the page. We go to this page. We'll maximize the page. And we're recording. So we have this, and then when we refresh it, it'll start. And I can control it. Some people are saying, well, my God, that's going too fast. Well, if we wanted to, we could have, inside of this, we could have said, this is the general settings and the design. We could have said, well, the delay between slides, we could have made it huge. We made it like 1 second or something. See, it's like 1,4. So that indicates the delay between the slides, and you can explore what that exactly means. And the effect duration, if it's like a Ken Burns, when it starts, how long it takes, and so forth and so forth. So that's how it works. Now, go back to the page. Here it is. It's kind of small. And I've taken out the controls. I have put this here so I can pause it, and it will pause it, or I can start it up again. So this is an example of a page where we can embed Apycom WowSlider commercial version 8.7 into a Mobirise 4.6.2 using Portfolio M4. We have no user-defined blocks here. HTML code editor was not used. That's a mistake. It was not used. We did not use the HTML code editor. We just inserted it directly before a block. Okay? Comments are in a, oh no, there's no comments in the block below either. But I suppose I could share those with you. So if we go to finalize this, what we did was, on this page here, we have a 2016 WowSlider. This connects to this page. Move this out of the way. So this page, this was the example that we did back in 2016 or something. 2016. This is my R2. Okay, and this is the same example really, except it doesn't show you how to do it. It just has these notes. It says usually you would use a full width image. It says Apycom's WowSlider has an ocean of choices. From the home page of my site, click on survey. Best way to reach me is at this. If you come down here, okay, Apycom WowSlider version 8.7 is fully mobile responsive. It wasn't before version 7 or something like that. This integration demo, this page, used Mobirise v 3.08.6. Now, this is the tricky part. Since both Mobirise and Apycom WowSlider add jQuery.js, you should comment out or delete them. Sometimes it will break your page because if you put blocks in from Mobirise, it can create the jQuery.js, and then the Mobirise is creating the same thing. And the line in this particular demonstration, it was line 179, and it was script, assets, web assets, jQuery, JavaScript. And by putting this symbol here and this symbol here, it comments it out. The original images in this one were 2480 by 2480. They're huge. And the WowSlider output these images to be 360 by 360. And then the music is from Audio Blocks, royalty free. Okay, so that's that. So I hope this helped you. I hope that you understand. So what basically you're going to do is you're going to insert it into a page. If you have any questions that I can help you with, please put them in the comments. And please, on YouTube, please join. Please subscribe so that we can get above 100 subscribers. Once we get above 100 subscribers, we can have a custom URL and we can tell people to go to the YouTube channel. Before 100, we can't do that. It becomes kind of a little bit confusing. Thanks a lot. This is Doc Plummer. I hope it helped. Bye.